I would like to welcome all three of you to the proceedings of the Grand Rapids Public School Board of Education. It is Monday, July 17th. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Schottke is excused for the evening, and Mr. Ross is taking her place as secretary. Can you please take the roll?
Yes, ma'am. Reverend Matias.
Present.
Mr. Ross, present. Ms. Schottke, excused. Ms. Slade.
Present.
Dr. Baker.
Here.
Dr. Flores.
Present.
Ms. Grant excused as well. Ms. Lewis.
Here.
And President Clark.
Present.
We do have a quorum of 7.
Thank you. And do I have a motion for approval of the agenda?
So moved. Support.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. We have no celebrations. We have no student representative. Mr. Ross, do we have public comment for board agenda items?
See no public comment cards.
On to the secretary's report, Mr. Ross.
Don't think we have a secretary's report today, actually.
Okay.
Actually, no, let me take that back, excuse me. Yeah, we do have a few things to announce. The Grand Rapids Urban League Annual Park Party is, well, there were two, actually. There was one on June 24th, which you obviously missed. There's another July 22nd at MLK Park, which is, of course, at the corner of Fuller and Franklin. 12 to 4 p.m. on July 22nd at King Park. There'll be music, food, fun, games, and other resources. The event is sponsored by the Grand Rapids Housing Commission and the Camp Hall Connection. So again, the Urban League Annual Park Party this Saturday, July 22nd, 12 to 4 at King Park. As well, the board committee meeting schedule update. Academic Achievement Committee meeting scheduled for tomorrow at 9 a.m. in this place. Finance Committee next Monday the 24th at 4 p.m. here in the auditorium. And Ad Hoc Committee, Policy Committee on Tuesday, August 1st, 1:30 in room 101 of this building. And then lastly, for the third year in a row, Grand Rapids Public Schools is sponsoring movies in the park. The district is the title sponsor for 2 movies this year that start at 7 p.m. at Adnob Awan Park, which is 220 Front Avenue. Each of these evenings, there'll be a staff table with giveaways and school choice information. The movies this Friday, the 21st, is The Book of Life, 7 p.m. And next Friday at 7 p.m. is Zootopia. And there are also some exciting new features for movies in the park this year, including a new LED screen instead of the old school blow-up screen with projector, 2 showings each night, and a new layout at the park. And this event is free to the public. Any questions, please contact Mr. Kyle Prey in our communications department, 819-2149.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ross. Academic achievement.
Yeah, as our secretary stand-in said, we're going to have a academic committee meeting tomorrow, and we'll be discussing professional development and then adult learning opportunities. So if you're all free, 9 to 10.
Thank you. Ad hoc policy, you'll get the update with all our policies we have to approve, so.
Correct.
And finance, Dr. Baker?
Yeah, our last Finance Committee meeting, we discussed the school aid budget and the ability to go forward with our plans, which we ended up implementing last week with our contract, so all is good. And a school construction update and other purchases that we'll be discussing tonight.
Thank you. Superintendent's report. Standing in for our superintendent, as I think she's had grief in the family. So we have Assistant Superintendent Carolyn Evans.
Thank you, and we don't have a report for
Okay.
today. Thank you.
All right. So we have several action items. Please assist me in motions and seconds so we can move through them quickly. The first is a very happy, very exciting action item, and that is a resolution ratifying the contract for the approval for non-bargained groups. Oh, Okay. Is that the? Oh, okay. Got it. So we're doing that at the time of, okay, that makes sense. All right, do I have a motion for approval of this?
So moved.
Support.
Any questions, deliberations, concerns? Mr. Ross, if you could take the vote?
Reverend Matias.
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Slade,
Yes.
Dr. Baker,
Yes.
Dr. Flores,
Yes.
Ms. Grant, oh, excuse me, Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
and President Fall.
Yes.
That motion passes 7-0.
We passed the other one in the work session. Right, yeah. Sorry, remember. Do I have a motion for approval for the purchasing agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Any questions, concerns? Mr. Ross?
Reverend Matias.
Yes.
Mr. Ross, yes. Ms. Slade.
Yes.
Dr. Baker,
Yes.
Dr. Flores,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
President Fall.
Yes.
That motion passes 7-0.
Next is an approval of the construction of museum high school bids. Do I have motion for approval of that?
So moved.
Support?
Any deliberations? As soon as you're ready?
Reverend Matias.
Yes.
Mr. Ross, yes. Ms. Slade,
Yes.
Dr. Baker,
Yes.
Dr. Flores,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
and President Fall.
Yes.
That motion as well passes 7-0.
The next action item is for approval for title services provider recommendation.
Support? Or
I'll make the motion.
motion and then support?
Any deliberations? Mr. Ross?
Reverend Matias.
Yes.
Mr. Ross, yes. Ms. Slade,
Yes.
Dr. Baker,
Yes.
Dr. Flores,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
and President Fall.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Next, we have a contract for approval from Johns Hopkins University for a talent development secondary.
Actually, I would like Mr. Obers to introduce these real quick, because they were things that we did not discuss in our Finance Committee meeting. Yeah, just a quick overview of what's there.
Actually, these four contracts, and let me clarify that the third contract, Fax Education Solution, what you just approved in the Title Services Providers Recommendation, it's the same contract, just some additional information, so I apologize for doubling up on that. But anyways, there's attached to your information, there are a memo from Mary Jo Coleman, and she could not be here tonight, giving some detail on the three contracts that we do need approval on. Johns Hopkins University Talent Development Secondary. It's to provide assistance in our earlier warning system for secondary schools. That's funded by the Steelcase Foundation, $40,000. The ASCD is continuing funding for challenge scholars at Harrison Park, Westwood Middle School, and Union High School, and they provide faculty members with literacy expertise for those particular schools. And then maybe the most exciting one is the last one there, that contract for Harvard Graduate School of Education. August 14th and 15th, Harvard Graduate School of Education faculty are taking their show on the road, so to speak. And you may recall that over the last, I think we're in the third year now of sending folks from the district out to Harvard for 3 to 4 days of leadership training. I was able to go, had the privilege of going last May, and this allows for those that faculty to come to Grand Rapids, and we can then bring some additional administrators out to Steelcase, who is sponsoring it, funded with Title IIA money, so that they can get that leadership training here in Grand Rapids, much like what have experienced out at Harvard. So that's happening August 14th and 15th. There'll be more information that will be forthcoming on that And I believe some of the board members, if not all the board members, will be made aware of that, the details surrounding that. So these items really came up after the Finance Committee meeting, but we needed to get the approval prior to the next Finance Committee meeting, and then your subsequent board meeting to approve the Finance Committee meeting actions wouldn't happen until August 7th, and we need to get those approved before then, which is why we brought them tonight. So not our usual process, but those things happen. Ken had already asked for permission at the Finance Committee for his construction thing, so that was
Yeah, and
already
I
approved.
may have to bring them up too, but I think that
Yeah.
we're good.
Any questions for Mr. Oberst? So am I correct that we can take the contract for the fax? We've already voted on that.
Yeah, you just
Okay.
voted on that, yeah. My
All right.
apologies for doubling up there.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion for approval for the Johns Hopkins University?
So
Contract.
moved.
Support.
Any concerns? Mr. Ross?
Reverend Matias.
Yes.
Mr. Ross, yes. Ms. Slade?
Yes.
Dr. Baker?
Yes.
Dr. Flores?
Yes.
Ms. Grant? Excuse me, Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
President Falk?
Yes.
And that motion passes 7-0.
Do I have a motion for approval of the contract with ASCD?
Motion to approve the contract for ASCD.
Support.
And Reverend Matias?
Yes.
Mr. Ross, yes. Ms. Slade?
Yes.
Dr. Baker?
Yes.
Dr. Flores?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
President Falk?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
And we need a motion for approval with Harvard Graduate School of Education.
So moved. Support.
Mr. Ross?
Reverend Matias?
Yes.
Mr. Ross, yes. Ms. Slade?
Yes.
Dr. Baker?
Yes.
Dr. Flores?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
President Falk?
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
So we are going to be going through a series of bylaws that the Ad hoc Policy Committee have reviewed and discussed extensively. Mr. Ross is going to stand in for Ms. Schottky to give you the general gist of what was addressed in that policy and what's in there, and then I will ask for a motion after each of those.
Yes, thank you. So for bylaw 1185, Board Superintendent Relations, it simply provided clarifying language to describe the board and superintendent roles as they relate to the day-to-day operations of the district. There are really no substantive changes, just cleaned up the language to make sure it was clear that obviously the superintendent is in charge of day-to-day operations and that the board's role is related to policy matters.
Any questions for the committee? Do I have a
Move to
motion?
support.
Support?
Second.
Any concerns, deliberations, discussions? Mr. Ross, if you could take a vote for approval of first reading.
Reverend Matias?
Yes.
Mr. Ross, yes. Ms. Slade?
Yes.
Dr. Baker?
Yes.
Dr. Flores?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
President Falk?
Yes.
First reading motion passes 7-0. And the next 1191, in regards to attorney, it just adjusted the policy to include the concept of our internal general counsel as well as the external counsel. Previously, before Ms. Pitts joining the district, our policy did not speak to having internal general counsel and clarifying the roles for internal versus external.
Any questions? Do I have a motion for approval of the first reading?
So moved.
Support?
Support.
Any concerns, deliberations? Mr. Ross?
Reverend Matias?
Yes.
Mr. Ross, yes. Ms. Slade?
Yes.
Dr. Baker?
Yes.
Dr. Flores?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
President Falk?
Yes.
First read of 1191, 7-0. And next is 1330, dealing with the rules of order. Simply remove the quorum language, which you could see in the packet. It was just a little confusing, and that didn't really pertain to how we do things. And remove section E, which strangely exempted the rules of procedure. Before it exempted rules of procedure to, it prohibited use of Robert Rules of Order. So we simply remove that in order to allow Robert's Rules of Order, which is the foundation that we use for our deliberations and board work here. So that's pretty much the only thing that happened in 1330, but of course it is included in your packet.
Yeah, but it took years for that to happen, so, so thanks.
We've arrived. Do you have a motion for approval of first reading?
So moved.
Support?
And Reverend Matias.
Yes.
Mr. Ross, yes. Ms. Slade.
Yes.
Dr. Baker.
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Lewis.
Yes.
And President Fall.
Yes.
And that passes 7-0 as well. Next is policy 1360, dealing with the minutes, and that was just general language cleanup. We removed the sentence. There was a sentence that strangely said the minutes shall not usually contain comments from board members. Just remove that sentence, as it just is, obviously it wasn't typical and very clear, because obviously our comments are generally noted in the minutes, so we'll just remove that language and just some small cleanup. Really no substantive changes to that policy, though.
Do you have a motion for approval of first reading of 1360?
Motion to approve 1360.
Support.
Reverend Matias.
Yes.
Mr. Ross, yes. Ms. Slade.
Yes.
Dr. Baker.
Yes.
Dr. Flores.
Yes.
Ms. Lewis.
Yes.
President Fall.
Yes.
First reading of 1360 passes 7-0. And 1375, dealing with board notices to the public, simply added the FOIA coordinator language to clarify the process for FOIA request. So just made reference to that coordinator, so the public would know that that person does do this work, and that is where the process begins for any FOIA-related requests.
Is that spelled out as freedom of
In the
information?
policy itself,
Yeah,
yes.
anywhere that the public would be able to know that without noting.
Freedom of Information
Yeah.
Act, as opposed to the acronym.
Wait,
You see it?
It's in there.
yeah, I'm looking at it. It says, I thought it said.
Michigan's Freedom of Information Act.
Yes. The district's FOIA coordinator will be provided pursuant to Michigan's Freedom of Information. Okay.
Do I have a motion for approval of first reading?
Motion to approve with the first reading.
Support for that?
Support.
And Reverend Matias.
Yes.
Mr. Ross, yes. Ms. Slade.
Yes.
Dr. Baker.
Yes.
Dr. Flores.
Yes.
Ms. Lewis.
Yes.
And President Fall.
Yes.
First read of 1375 passes 7-0. And finally, 1400, previously referenced as news coverage. Simply rename the policy to recording the board proceedings. Rationale behind that is obviously recording board proceedings is not necessarily a news item, as anyone can record the board proceedings if they choose to. And we deleted all the language in that policy except the language that is required by statute. So the policy we're moving forward will simply be language that's required by statute, nothing else.
Yeah, that thing was outdated.
Yeah,
Move that-
Questions?
yeah, it
move
talked
for
about
bi-
beta, I think it talked about Betamax and all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff too, right? Motion? Excuse me.
Motion to support the first reading of bylaw 1400.
Approval. Do I have support?
Approve.
Support.
Reverend Matias?
Yes.
Mr. Ross, yes. Ms. Slade?
Yes.
Dr. Baker?
Yes.
Dr. Flores?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
And President Fall.
Yes.
1400, first reading passes 7-0 as well.
So that's where Jen's notes end, but we have another one on the...
Actually, no, 1510, I
Okay.
apologize. I
Okay.
missed that. 1510 bylaw and policy development system. We added create to the board shall oversee and review its bylaws and shall as needed dictate, delete, create, amend, and supplement. So we added create into that sentence. Determined that the policy will be reviewed every 4 years to follow term cycle of board members. And we also combined language under draft writer to concisely summarize the desire to seek input from staff, community, and students. So in essence, really just added create to the one sentence and just expanded and clarified so it would be clear that staff, community, and students could be involved in helping to develop and edit and recommend policy changes moving forward every 4 years.
Any questions for the committee? Do I have a motion for approval of first reading?
So moved.
Support.
And Reverend Matias.
Yes.
Mr. Ross, yes. Ms. Slade?
Yes.
Dr. Baker?
Yes.
Dr. Flores?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
And President Fall.
Yes.
First reader 1510 passes 7-0 as well. And that will conclude the policy edits.
Thank you. What I can tell the rest of the board is that we really comb through them and talk about the ramifications of word changes and what that means for how the board functions and how the district functions. So we're rallying through them quite fast, but I take that as confidence from the board for the work that the committee's doing. But yeah, we go through it quite thoroughly, and there's, small policies have larger implications for how we operate. So really pleased with the work that the committee's doing, and Ms. Pitts is leading. It's awesome, and Ms. Slade is hanging with us, and
She's loving the detail orientation of it.
she thinks we're a little nuts,
Wading through it is
debating
right.
these little things, but.
Extensive
know that
discussion.
I'm in there debating them all. Anyway, thank you. Do I have a motion for approval of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Support.
Please take the vote.
Reverend Matias?
Yes.
Mr. Ross, yes. Ms. Slade?
Yes.
Dr. Baker?
Yes.
Dr. Flores?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
And President Fall.
Yes.
Consent agenda passes 7-0.
Discussion items, Ms. Anderson has put on there noting the upcoming CUBE conference. If you remember, that's the Council of Urban Boards of Education. It's a part of the National School Board Association. They have their own conference focused on issues that affect urban boards of ed. There's an opportunity for attendance. Members have attended it in the past, so I guess let me know if there's some interest, and we can discuss it, maybe.
When is it? Where is it at?
I don't know.
New Orleans. Yeah. That is.
That's a terrible place to visit.
it's an awful place to be.
Anybody interested in going?
Maybe.
I would like to, but if other people want to go, that's fine.
I think persons that haven't gone should have a chance to go. It is really beneficial, but
No,
I'd certainly be interested as well, but.
When is
Christian
the
and I-
deadline, Julie?
It is coming up rather quickly, but I was hoping to get something by the first week of August, end of the first week of August.
Yeah. I think I know, talking to the superintendent, there's some extent to which when I first got on this board, national conferences were not, only if there was drivable travel. On some level, we need to discuss as a board our big picture budget and how we spend it. It's an awesome conference, and I think it's a great opportunity, so it'd be great to be in a work session to kind of gather our thoughts about it, rather than just.
But that would
So
be after
anyway,
the deadline.
look into it. Those of you who are interested, go look at the agenda
I did.
for the conference and, kind of weigh things out, looking ahead to future conferences. And I also want to encourage, for new board members especially, engagement with some of the MASB conference material as well. So, public comment for non-agenda items.
There are none.
Superintendent's comment.
I don't have anything on behalf of the superintendent tonight.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Evans? Dr. Baker?
No comments?
Mr. Ross?
No comment.
Dr. Flores?
No comment.
Ms. Lewis?
No comment.
Ms. Slade?
No comment.
Reverend Matias?
There are, a lot of back-to-school events that are happening that our district is promoting. It seems that there's a lot of interest out there, so just reminding people.
I just want to give another extra thanks to the bargaining teams on both sides for a wonderful contract resolution. Our teachers deserve this and more, and it's just awesome to see a real spirit of collaboration and opportunity to bring some more compensation to our very hardworking staff. So with that, we are adjourned.